an absolute nail biter in Dallas as the Lions go on to win 47-9 and made this game personal. I think we've got a new rivalry brewing here. I don't know if you heard what Micah Parsons had to say. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jordan Lewis, they're all going back and forth, and sounds like there's a newfound rivalry there, but when you lose by 40 points, it's hard to call anything a rivalry, as the Lions almost seemed like they were bullying the Cowboys at points of the game, trying to score with offensive linemen. Clearly a revenge game from last year, but they get it done in dominant fashion, but not without a major loss, which kind of overshadowed and headlined the entire game, and that's the loss of the star on the defensive line, Aiden Hutchinson. And so, Brant, an exciting win for Lions fans, but also a heartbreaking loss as well, as they go on to take the undefeated Vikings this week in a heated divisional matchup. I guess my question to you is your thoughts on that situation, and where do the Lions go from here? They've already lost Marcus Davenport on the D-line. They've now lost Aiden Hutchinson. We know the Lions are going to make a move. My question is, how big of a move do they need to make?
Dave, I mean, it's just Aiden Hutchinson. Who really cares? I mean, this guy's just leading the NFL in sacks. Obviously just a terrible loss. And I know a lot of Lions fans have been checking the reports, seeing when he might be available again. Sounding anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, I would guess. They say clean break, so they've already went in there, put the rod in the leg, got it stabilized, all that sort of thing, which is fantastic to see. Actually, Isaiah Pacheco had this happen, Dave, I believe, in week 2, and he's got like a late November timetable to be back, and he's obviously a running back. So they do – it is encouraging that he has the clean break no matter how gruesome it looked. Definitely potential for him to be back for potentially a playoff run, maybe the Super Bowl. But that notwithstanding, Detroit has to do something, Dave, and you alluded to it. What is that something? I know a lot of fans have thrown out, hey, will we go after Myles Garrett? Looks like the Browns are in a fire sale. Is Max Crosby available? Like, everybody is asking these questions. Devontae Adams gets moved today.
I was going to say that first domino kind of fell, which was like, whoa, okay. And then you saw Amari Cooper get traded to the Bills, and so there's movement happening.
Right, correct. And the important thing to remember here is, I say this all the time, Dave, when you're in that Super Bowl window, now is your chance to strike. Strike while the iron's hot. If it costs you a couple draft picks, a couple first rounders, you don't get these opportunities very often. So absolutely go after it, even if it costs you 25 first rounder, maybe 26 first rounder. Go get your dude, go lock him up, and we already needed someone across from Aiden. We were going to have this conversation with or without Aiden, Dave, to me, and I think you understand that too. So it's definitely got to be go after somebody that's going to be a playmaker. We talked about it last year. Maybe Chase Young gets this team over the hump last year. You don't know. And they kind of sat on their hands and didn't do anything, Dave. And ultimately, did it cost them a chance at the Super Bowl? We don't know. Chase Young was obviously playing for the 49ers, and he did go to the Super Bowl. So we just don't know, Dave. And I am curious of your thoughts of, is it worth mortgaging some of the future to get it right now?
I think it is because, both of the guys that you just named, Max Crosby and Myles Garrett, I mean, those are, let's be honest, those are pipe dreams. Dreams that they could come true. They really could. That's not reporting anything or anything I've heard or know, but the reality is, Brent, when you look at the NFL over the last few seasons, these kind of trades come out of nowhere. You're like, whoa, wait, they just gave up a second round pick and what for who? And it was last year when it was Chase Young, and I believe, the Niners got him like dirt cheap, like a 4th or a 5th round pick. The Bears go out and trade for Montez Sweat last year for, I think, like a 2nd round pick. Crosby and Myles Garrett are both locked up for at least the next couple of years. And you absolutely go for it because you're in your window right now. Now, some people will argue, or they take that personally, like, well, that's like saying the window is so small, like Brad has built this thing to last. And I think he has. However, the pieces are here right now. And when the pieces are here right now, you've got to make a move. And I think you made a good point. With or without Aiden Hutchinson, they needed to make a move. Yes, this team is good with the potential to be great. I can't even fathom the thought of like a Max Crosby opposite side Aiden Hutchinson when they're both healthy. That is scary. That is, and you talk about Aleem McNeil up the gut, DJ Reader, Levi Onwuzurike has had an outstanding season. Like, they'd be the best D line in football. So yeah, I think you got to go make a move, and that's exactly where you go and do it. I am falling more and more off the train of you got to go trade for a wide receiver. I think what you're seeing in Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams and even Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, I think that wide receiver core works for Jared Goff. Could it be a little bit better? Yeah, I think it could, but I think they can address that in the offseason. I don't have concerns about this offense. As if that O-line can stay healthy, Jared Goff looks back to form of what he was last year and arguably better. And you got, one of the, if not the best rushing attack in the NFL. So that leaves the defensive side of the ball in an ascending secondary. Brian Branch looks like an all-pro, an absolute stud back there. Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold's coming into his own. Like, the pieces are there. The question is, how much are you willing to give up? I don't know, because I don't know what the NFL market says right now, but am I willing to give up a first round pick and a future second? Yeah, I am. I feel pretty comfortable with that because you know what? Brad Holmes is the same guy that hits on third round picks and fourth round picks. And, eventually when it's win now mode, you go and trade and get your guy like Brad does in the draft. Go and get your guy right now mid-season and go win yourself a Super Bowl. So I'm all in here.
Dave, you know what's funny? You mentioned Brian Branch, and he not only had a fantastic game on Sunday, I think he took everything personal, and that whole team felt like it took it personal. I know you mentioned maybe there's a budding rivalry. I don't really think there's much. I don't think the Cowboys have much to offer the Lions right now. If you look at some of the numbers, it was just Detroit running the ball down, doing what Detroit does, which is the ground and pound game. I think the Cowboys ran the ball like 12 or 13 times, and they just had to air it out the rest of the time. And that's absolutely how you beat the Cowboys. Make Dak be the hero. And we all know he comes up short in those kind of situations. So, the Lions took everything personal this weekend. It was fantastic to see because they get their MO from Dan Campbell, and it's grit all the way. And they don't forget, man, that was clear that they had that this game circled in the offseason. And you want to get in here, Dave? What you got?
Well, yeah, I just want to kind of shift to your thoughts on, they got the matchup of the week, in my opinion, and the Lions traveled to Minnesota, in a surprisingly undefeated team. And as I keep waiting for them to kind of hiccup, they have not. And Sam Darnold, led or not, they're a good football team, and they're very, very well coached. Kevin O'Connell's a great coach. And so I guess what I want to know from you are a couple of things. First is, how do you think this game shakes out? What do the Lions need to do to win? And then let's talk quickly on what that line currently sits at.
Dave, I am curious. The line is currently sitting at 2.5 favored for the Vikes. I'm curious of your thoughts. Are you surprised Justin Jefferson hasn't taken a step back? I mean, I know he had the injury last week or whatever, a couple weeks ago, but this dude is still just an absolute flamethrower around the outside. He'd go get you a score. It feels like almost anytime you need it. Sam Darnold has stepped into the role seamlessly. I would have loved to have seen J.J. McCarthy with this team, to be honest with you. But without that, Sam Darnold's been fantastic. The defense, always good, it seems like. I think this game plays out one of two ways, Dave. I think that the Lions either run the ball and they figure out a way to grind out a win, or kind of the Vikings take it to them. I could see maybe coming off such a high in Dallas, back on the road in Minnesota, potential letdown spot. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing got into a 7 to 14 point ball game in Minnesota's favor.
See, I see it as because it's Dan Campbell, because this gritty mentality of this team, I don't think they're sleeping on anybody, and I surely don't think that they're sleeping on a divisional opponent that's undefeated. And so to take charge of the NFC North, you've got to go win this game. It's not a make or break point of the season, but it's a big deal because when you're posting 2 losses and the Vikings in your division are posting 0 losses after this weekend, that's a problem, and that's not easy to come back from. And so I think that they will be ready. I think that they're going to rely on this offense, and I think this offense will do just fine. I know Minnesota has played good defensively. I think that on the defensive side of the ball, it will be very interesting now that they have Jordan Addison back. Justin Jefferson is who he is, like you said. Yeah, he's a stud. All those LSU guys, man. Like, where do these guys come from? Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, like Malik Neighbors,
Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas.
The list goes on.
They just grow on trees, apparently. So, but I think they get it done. I would absolutely ride with the Lions plus 2.5. And as a matter of fact, I confidently take them on the money line. So we will see. Like, follow, subscribe to the Garage Takes channel. Hop into the comments right now and let us know your thoughts on the Aiden Hutchinson injury. Where do the Lions go from here? How big of a move do they need to make or not make? And do you think they get it done this weekend against the Vikings?